Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat with Gina K. I am so excited to see so many of you here already. We have a fun night planned, and tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about trying to find light in all the darkness. So, I don't know about you guys. It was really rainy and dreary today, and I had a really bad day. I don't know if any of you guys get like that. Sometimes I love the rain. I think I love the rain, when everything's okay and you have a rainy day and you get to stay inside and craft. That's so much fun. But for some reason, the rain and everything, I don't know, I just had a bad day. And so, I'm trying to remember that it's okay to be at a place where I'm struggling and stumbling. I guess struggling and stumbling means you're growing, right? And I'm also trying to remember that, and you've heard this said before, whenever you're having a bad day, remember that we've all managed to get through every bad day we've already had, and we'll make it through this one too. But you guys are the highlight of my day today for sure. So I am so excited to see you all. Today, we are going to be making some rainbow cards. And I thought rainbows would be a great, bright, fun thing to make. And I have a couple different ways to create that rainbow feel. So the first card that I want to make tonight is going to use this stamp set. Let me bring my other screen in here. So this stamp set here is the Tiny Texture stamp set. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this before, but this is kind of a fun stamp set because it just has textures. It does have one little greeting in there just because, but it just has a lot of textures that you can use behind other projects or other stamps that you want to use. So this one actually would be really nice with the wild blossoms that we did the other night, where we were creating those kinds of color blends and then stamping those bold images on top. This stamp set would work really well with that. So I just want to say welcome to everybody who's joining in. I see so many of you popping in. And if you didn't hear, tonight's topic is trying to find, I have my little cheat sheet here because I don't want to miss anything that I want to talk about, but trying to find light in all of the darkness. And I was telling everybody that I had kind of a bad day today, and I'm really, really trying to use my struggles and stumbles today as growth. So, all right, so for the first card that I want to make, I think I'm going to pick some colors here, and I grabbed a few, but I have a couple different choices. So the first one here is the red velvet. I think red velvet is a fantastic red to use. It's a true red. We have some other reds in our collection like Red Hot that has just a hint of orange red. Not very much, but if you were going to put it on a scale where you had red velvet as pure red, then Red Hot would lend itself more to a warm red, and Cherry Red would lend itself more to a cool red. So I'm going to use the purest red, the red velvet. And then for my second color that I want to use, I was really kind of up in the air between going with Sweet Mango and Tangerine Twist. And I tend to use Sweet Mango for everything, so I thought I'd bring out the Tangerine. So this is a nice bright orange, not as orange as Rena's Electropop orange, but it's a nice bright orange. So I'm going to use that one. Then I'm going to use Wild Dandelion. I think this yellow is a perfect yellow for rainbow cards. And then my greens. So I tend to always use jelly bean green. So I thought I would use some Lucky Clover tonight. And then my final color is a toss-up between Blue Lagoon and Turquoise Sea. Make a match here. So they are very different blues, but they both are Caribbean type blues. So I think because I always use Turquoise Sea, I'm going to go with Blue Lagoon. And then if there's room on my card for one more color, then I have Wild Lilac. Oh, this is Wild Wisteria. I want to use Wild Lilac. So here's Wild Lilac. And this one is just kind of that pure, true purple. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is make well, I'm going to lay my colors out again. And you always want to, when you make rainbows, you always want to use kind of that Roy G. Biv, right? So we're going to go red, orange, yellow, Roy, red, orange, yellow, and then we're going to go green and blue. So green and then blue and violet would be Biv. So I'm going to use this combination right here, and I'm going to start with my middle color, which is the wild dandelion. I've seen people do rainbows in all different orders. No matter what you start with, as long as you continue in the rainbow order, you'll wrap back around again to red. I'm going to start with, oh, you know what? I'm not going to use my Misty for this. I'm actually just going to use an acrylic block. I know, I always use my Misty. So let me go, let me get out of here and go solo here so you guys can see all of this. So I'm going to use an acrylic block for this one. And then I'm going to use this kind of, it looks like an ink splatter, not an ink splatter so much like a streak. Now, when people saw a card that I did similar to this, they thought I used an ink cube and I just went like whoosh across the cardstock. You could do that with these ink cubes and get a pretty decent look, but I want it to look a little bit perfect. And by using this stamp, it's going to be a lot easier. Now I have a brand new stamp here. Normally I don't like to use brand new stamps, especially on these big images, but we did this kind of card at Scrappy Hour and we needed a couple sets. So I brought my stamp set in to use for the card samples and I left it there at work. So I have this piece of cardstock cut 3.5 inches across by 4 3/4 of an inch long. And I like this, this layout as well as my normal layout that I do where the cardstock is a little bit bigger. I'm going to start with the yellow. And the reason I'm starting with the yellow is because if you start with the yellow, you can center it. Then it's going to be easier for you to space your other colors. If you start at the top, you might start too close to the top or you might start too far down and then you won't have enough room at the bottom. But if you start right in the middle, then it's going to be easier to work your way up and down, if that makes sense. So I'm going to ink up this stamp. And you know what? Before I stamp it, I'm going to get a little piece of scrap paper here. And I'm going to stamp it just a couple times or one time just to see if all the residue is off that stamp. So let's see here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So that's the first time stamping it. And because it is kind of a blotchy, streaky look, that if it's not perfect, it really won't matter. All right, so here's my piece that I'm going to use, and I'm going to once again ink up this stamp with some of the wild dandelion ink. Okay, and again, I'm going to go right in the center, or as centered as I can get it, and give it a little press. So there's my first color. Now I'm going to clean the stamp, and then I'm going to move up to my next color, which would be the orange. So I'm going to use the tangerine, and I'm going to ink it up with this tangerine. And then I'm going to place that just right above it. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I can overlap a little bit if I want. So that looks pretty good. And now I can do my red. Now this red doesn't stain the stamp too much, but our cherry red does. It's got a different kind of pigment in it. So this one, but it's going to stain a little. And then this one's going to go right up here. And I'm going to clean that. That's not too bad. Okay, so I got my first 3 colors, and now I'm going to move down to the green. And this one is Lucky Clover. And I'm going to ink this up. And stamp that right below. And again, if it's not perfectly lined up on this side, it's okay because it's a really forgiving stamp. Oh, I love seeing all of you guys coming in. Welcome, welcome, everyone. We're rainbow cards tonight, and we're finding light in the darkness. Yes, one of the quotes I really like is, just remember, it's just a bad day and not a bad life, right? We all have those kinds of days. So now my final color is the Blue Lagoon. This is a really pretty color. If you haven't used Blue Lagoon yet and you've been using Turquoise Sea, you might really like this color as a change of pace. It is a little bit more blue, but it still has that little bit of turquoise or teal in it. All right, so I have a nice rainbow there. Now, what should I do next? Well, one thing I was thinking that I would do is maybe stamp a stamp on top of the whole thing. Like, this is a beautiful stamp by Lisa Hetrick. And this is one of her earlier stamp sets with us. This is called Just a Little. And it's a great stamp set for stamping in solid black, but it's got some open spots there too that you can color if you want. Now, I'm not going to color it. I'm just going to stamp it. Well, I'm not going to commit to that because I might decide I want to color it, but I think I'm going to just stamp it. So I'm going to stamp that in black, but first I wanted to put this stamp set away, and this was the Tiny Textures. So for this one, I'm definitely going to use my Misty. And also in this stamp set, there's this cool pattern that you can stamp as well. And you could actually ink those up with water-based markers and spritz them and then stamp it and have a rainbow of these different streaks. That would be really fun to do too. Might have to do that on another live. Okay, so let me get my ink pads out of the way here. And then I'm going to put this up near the top of my Misty. I actually still have a little embossing powder on my Misty from the other night when we were making embossed cards. And I'm just going to bring my face in here for just a second because I see so many more people have joined us, and I just want to welcome you all. Welcome everybody. If you're new to Gina K Designs, you're new to my YouTube channel or our Facebook page, I just wanted to let you guys know that we have a fun Facebook group called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. We would love to have you over there if you're on Facebook. It's a really, really supportive group. Lots of people are newer stampers over there, and we all share our projects, and you get lots of positive feedback. It's really a beautiful place. I love it. So if you're in the mood, come on over and say hello. Now, it would be nice if I had one of my Misty corners, because then I could put the corner in there and this wouldn't get caught up on the side. And I don't know if I have Misty corners. Let me just peek. Don't have any there. Do I have them there? No. I must have left those at work. Oh, here's one. Here's one. So let's see how this works out. So if you've never used the Misty corners, you can pop one of those in your Misty, and then you can put your cardstock into that. And that allows you to use a bigger stamp like this. Let's see here. I can actually turn it a little bit like this. And this, because if you didn't have that, then all of this would be sticking over on the side of your Misty. So that is like one of the cool things about these Misty corners. And then I'm going to put my magnet there. But as long as that's all stuck there in the corner, I can move it around if I need to. All right. So this is one big stamp. Should I do it that way or should I? No, I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to go with what I think here. Okay. So now I'm going to get some black ink. And I'm going to use the black Onyx ink for this. And I'm going to ink this up really well. And I might have to stamp it more than once because sometimes with these really big stamps, it is good to give it a second impression. It just gets it a little bit darker, a little bit more solid. But this is a really cool stamp. Okay, here we go. This is the first pass. All right. See how that came out. That looks pretty good. Let me take that out of there and see what that looks like and clean up my Misty. That actually looks pretty good. I feel like I should color this in with something, but I'm not exactly sure what. So let me clean this off, and I'll clean the stamp off, and then we'll figure out what to do next. Okay, so we can put a greeting over this, like wishes. We can do a big hello over it. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure which way I want to put it together here. Now, I did find a stamp set that I think is really good for greetings for these cards. So let me find that over here. This is the Smile stamp set. And although maybe you might not feel like smile is the right thing to say, but it could be, you could put smile and then you are not alone, smile, we've got each other, I miss your smile. There's a lot of things like that that you could put on a card like this. So I think I'm going to stamp the smile in black up here at the top. Actually, I'm going to take the corner out. I'm going to put the smile right up here. Okay. Now I'll tell you what I think after I make this card. I'll tell you what I think. I think that this card would have been better if I had done a pastel rainbow instead of such a bright rainbow. So maybe I'll try this again later with a pastel rainbow. So I have my word smile, and now I'm going to cut a small piece. Hello, everybody. I see people saying hi. It's always so nice to see you guys out there saying hi. You all have just brightened my evening. Now, I have some small pieces of cardstock here, and I'm going to cut a tiny strip. And the way I'm going to cut this strip is I can't really like cut it this way. Oh, let me move this out of the way. Can't really cut it this way on my paper cutter and get it small enough. But what I can do is I can say, oh, I just want a 3/4 of an inch or a quarter or 5/8 of an inch strip. So I can just take this and move it down a 1/4 of an inch and then one more little tick. And that'll give me a tiny little strip like this. So that's the easier way for me to cut the size strip that I want. So now I'm going to stamp this right here on the top of my Misty. I wonder if I could stamp it with a block. Would I be good enough to do that? Let's give it a try. It's only a strip, right? I can do it again. I think I'm going to say, we've got each other. That's a good greeting for right now. And I'm going to place that on the block. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but these blocks have grid lines. So it's easy to kind of line up the stamp along one of the grid lines to try to get it on there straight. If you have trouble with strip sentiments like this and you can't seem to get them on straight because as you're putting them on, you're bending them and they're not always straight, the best thing to do for that is to turn it upside down so that you can read it and then line it up on a grid like that and pick it up. So I hope that made sense. So let's try stamping this one with some black ink. And we'll stamp that right in the center here. There we go. We've got each other. Yes, we do. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we've got each other right here all together. Now I lost my little notes for all my little things that I wanted to share with you. So another thing I was thinking about today is, you know, I don't know how many of you, I just said it a little while ago that I had a really bad day today. I want to get out of this mode. So I just said, I'm having a really bad day today. I had a bad day. But did I really have a bad day, or did I have like a bad 5 minutes that I just carried throughout the whole day? And I think it was probably more than that. I had a bad 5 minutes, bad 10 minutes, and now I'm letting it affect the rest of my day. And that's not good. So I'm going to try to not do that anymore. It's hard though, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to just trim a little bit off of each of these sides. You guys can't see that. There we go. A little bit off of each side. And then I am going to use my scissors. And tonight I have the Tim Holtz snips. These are nice scissors too. And I'm going to cut a little V on each end. Now, I know a lot of you guys have dies that do this, and if you have them, use them. That makes it easy. But if you don't have them, you can still create a nice little flag like this just by cutting the ends. Okay, I'm going to put this onto a piece of black cardstock. You guys know I do not plan anything for these lives, and tonight may show it, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks. I feel like it needed to be broken up with the white flag, so we'll put this on here. And then I'm going to put this flag right under here like this. Smile, we've got each other. So I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape. Now this foam tape is pretty thin, but this is really tiny, so I might even have to trim it. It's just about the same size, so if I don't get it on there perfectly, I might have a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit of this, and then I'm going to trim it down the center. I actually have a better pair of scissors here. These are my red Tim Holtz snips, and these are the ones that I cut all the sticky stuff with. So I try not to ruin the other ones. I keep that one for paper. Get in there. There we go. And I can keep this piece for another project just by putting it back on top of my roll. So I'm going to lay that on there. And then I am going to pop that up right here. There we go. Smile, we've got each other. And then the whole thing is going to go onto a white card base. And I feel like that really finishes it off quite a bit. I like that, actually. That turned out better than I thought it was going to. You know, sometimes you look at things mid-project and you're ready to scrap them, but don't scrap them, because once you get done and you step back and you look at it, you might really like it. And now I really like this. Okay. So there we go. There's my first rainbow card for the night. Now, one thing I might do is I might stamp this flower again, just on white cardstock, and color it, and then pop it up on top. But we'll see. I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit and see how it sits with me. But so far, I do like it the way it is. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one aside. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to do a little bit of ink blending. So I have a bigger piece of white cardstock here. Let's go full overhead so you can see the full mess. Let's see, there we go. Here's all my little bits and pieces. So now what I want to do here is I want to use a stencil. I'm going to try this one. So this is called Daisy Chain. I don't know if you've ever seen this stencil before, but I like it because it's got these kind of dividers where you can blend colors together and you can kind of keep them in their own little area. You can blend them kind of together in those areas, but it kind of keeps like your red would be up here, your orange would be here, your yellow would be real big, your green, and then your blue would come in from down here. So let's give this a try. I'm going to use a little pixie spray on this. So I'm going to pixie spray the back of this stencil because this stencil has lots of little parts that can come up. And I pixie sprayed this one before, but it's been a while. So I'm sure some of that pixie spray has kind of worn off. And look at, there's my pixie spray on the bottom there. I'm going to get another piece of cardstock and we'll keep that one for pixie spray. Now, what I usually do with pixie spray is I spray it inside a cardboard box, but I don't have my cardboard box close by and I don't want to get it all over my floor. So this is now getting kind of tacky on the back. So I'm going to lay this onto my card and I want to make sure that those two little, these parts right here, I don't want to put it down too far where I can't get those in. We'll see how this works. Okay, there we go. So my first color is going to be red, and I have a brush that already has tons of red on it. And as you guys are coming in, I want to welcome you to our live tonight. I see lots and lots of you here. We have about 1,300 people here over both platforms. That is really exciting. So welcome. I have a little number on my computer that shows me how many of you are here. And that's exciting. So I'm going to start up here at the top. And I can turn this whole thing because the stencil is pretty stuck down. And I'm going to come in from here and I'm going to add some red. And I'm not going to worry too much about going over that line, but I'm going to just go over a little bit because that's where my orange is going to blend. All right, so now I have a brush that already has orange on it. So I'm going to use some of the Tangerine Twist again. And I'm going to come in from the side with the tangerine and blend into this area. Oh, did you see what I did? I forgot that little part at the top. That should have some red in it. So let me go back and get the red brush and we'll bring a little bit of red in down here. Right there. And then I can go back to with that orange, the tangerine, and go all over that. And you can see I'm working my way down just a little bit into the next segment. Okay. And these brushes, if you're interested, this brush is actually by Simon Says Stamp. I really like these brushes. They're all one size and they have different color handles. So if you want to be color coordinated like I was with my yellow one, you can do pinks and purples with this color and you can do yellows with this color. They're really nice. And then I also really love the Picket Fence Studios Life Changing brushes. I like those because they have all different sizes and I find a lot of use for some of the smaller ones in some of the ink blending I like to do. So I'm going to go up into that orange a little bit with this Wild Dandelion and go down just a little bit over to the next segment. So you can see how my blending's going so far. Boy, I needed some rainbow cards. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely needed them. All right, my next color, I don't think I'm going to use Lucky Clover for this. I think I'm going to use Jelly Bean Green for this one. I really like the Lucky Clover, but I think the Jelly Bean Green is just a little bit lighter and a little bit more yellow. So I'm going over this segment with Jelly Bean, and I'm working my way back up into that line above and just skimming a little bit below, not a lot because there's not a lot of room left for the blue. Ah, I love this. It's nice and springy. I guess I have to be happy for the rain, right? Because without the rain, we don't have the rainbows. So I'm also going to use some Turquoise Sea, and then I need to find a brush that has some turquoise, and I think this one does. I think we were using this one. No, we were using this one last night. Or not last night. The other night when we were making holiday cards, Merry Monday. And then I'm going to bring that blue in. And this is Turquoise Sea. And I'm going to work it up just a little bit into the green, just so I have a nice fade. And there is my rainbow. So now let's see what happens when we take it off. And there's a couple different things that we can do. If it's too harsh looking, and sometimes when you have a stencil that has big white or big areas like this, when you take it off, it almost looks like, that's just too much white space. And it's just too clashy. So we'll see, because there's a way to soften it. So let's pull this off. Ooh, actually, I like that. It's kind of hippie-ish, right? A little something there, a little something there, get that off. So that's fun. What do you guys think of that? Do you like this reveal? It's always fun to take a stencil off. Oh my goodness, I just love it. You just never know what it's gonna look like. So if you didn't like this, you could go back over with the same color brush and just lightly blend over the same colors. And what will happen is this will become a lighter red, and then you'll have the darker red here. But I like the starkness of this. I didn't think I would like it so much, but I really do. So before I get going with my next step, I'm going to clean this stencil. I like to clean them with my tidy towel if they only have ink on them. So that's a good way to clean it. And then there's a lot of pixie spray on there. So this one is ready for my next, to do another card for sure. All right, we're gonna flip. Now for a greeting. So I have this, and I really wanted to use it. I had cut that out one night when I was I didn't know what to do, and I was just making die cut pieces. And I cut out 3 of them, and I glued them together with Connect glue, just so that it'd be nice and thick and a bold embellishment. So I'm thinking, if I did hello, what else could I say here? You're not alone. Hello, you're not alone. Maybe I'll say that. Let me look at some of the other greetings that I have here. I'm sure I could dig through all of my strip sentiments and find just the perfect thing. But let's see. Oh, this is kind of nice. This is from Emily's Just Because stamp set. I think this is Just Because. Oh, is this Just Because? And this is the rainbow one. Be the Rainbow. And I like this one too. Hello, you're on my mind and in my heart. That's really nice. Stamp that on there. Hello, always here for you. Hello, thinking of you. What do you think, guys? What should I say? This is where you guys have to tell me what I want to put on this card. Let's see. I'm going to wait. Let's see what you guys say. Well, while you're deciding, one thing that I was thinking about too, when it comes to all of this, just these days, sometimes we have these terrible bad days, but I guess we have to always on my mind. Let's see, on my mind and in my heart. You're on my mind and in my heart. Okay. I'm here for you. I'm just reading all your comments here. Maybe you are loved. Yeah, I love You Are Loved. It's just, I want to put this scripty one with like a type one that's not scripty. But this should definitely be on another card for sure. Okay. I feel like it should be, okay, we'll do You're on my mind and in my heart. And I think I'm going to do a whole strip going across. Then I'm going to just rest the hello onto the strip. We'll see how it goes. Let's try it. All right, here's a nice size piece of cardstock. So what I was saying a little earlier is I was saying you know, when I think about having a bad day and how difficult some of these days are, I think about in the future. I try to think about what life is going to be like in the future. And in the future, we're going to be telling our grandkids, or some of you guys don't have kids yet, and we're going to be telling this story, you know, to our kids. So I'm trying to think about this and say, okay, a good day is a good day, and a bad day is a good story, right? So that's what I'm going to try to go with here. All right, so this is not what I had planned, but it's what you guys had planned, some of you. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. So I'm going to stamp this off to the one side. You're on my mind and in my heart. Okay. There we go. Let me clean this stamp off. And then I'm going to cut that out. You know, I might stamp it one more time. I think I was a little heavy-handed with my stamping there. I don't think I need quite that much ink or quite that much pressure. It's like I'm angry stamping or something. There we go. That's a little better. But it's not very straight. All right, I'm going to do one more. I can keep those because I can cut those out into squares. I'm glad you're here with me. Okay, there we go. Last one always works out. Your final one, right? So I'm going to cut this into a strip, a long strip that goes across. I'll find my cover for my ink. And we'll go full overhead here. Let me get my paper cutter. So I've been using this little We Are Memory Keepers paper cutter for just having like a quick paper cutter to grab, and I like it. I also really love the small Tim Holtz one. Both of those are really, both of them great paper cutters. So did you know that you can take this out somehow? I figured that out when I tried to clean it, that this actually comes out. So if you ever need to clean, it's got a little clip on the bottom there. And I think they all do. And I know it's not good to cut without it, but I'm going to cut without it because I want to get it just a little bit closer. And it's hard for me to hold it down. So there we go. That should do it. Now, I don't know what size that is, so I'm going to wing it with a piece of black cardstock because this is all kind of winging it. Let me take a look here. It's a little bit smaller than an inch, so I'm going to try an inch. Let me put this back together so we don't have to have an ER visit right now in the middle of everything, right? Okay, we don't want that. All right, so I'm going to cut this down to an inch. We'll see how that looks. And then we'll layer these two together. That is a very, very small margin. Do you guys like that? I think we'll leave it. Okay, so I'm going to get the paper cutter again, but first I want to tape these together, and I want to have it even on the side. So I'll get my tape. And we will do the magic here. Get that tiny little border. Ooh, that is tight. But I like that, actually. I really do. I think it's kind of nice. Okay. Then let's do this quick little layout here. We'll take a look. We'll put that right here, going across. And then we'll have hello going across like that. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So we'll just go right over this yellow and green area. Right about there. We'll make sure we're right up onto the edge. Okay, now I'll get my paper cutter again. And I'm going to cut this from behind. So I'm just going to press that right up onto the edge and cut. Okay, there we have it. Now this whole thing needs to go onto a black layer, of course, because I don't make a card that doesn't have a little skinny black layer going around it. So I like that. What do you guys think? Oh, you guys have so many great ideas, so many things that would have worked with this. I guess I need to make like 40 of them and use all the different ideas that you guys are suggesting. But this is a good one because right now we can't see a lot of people that we want to see, and we want them to know that they are on our minds and in our hearts. Okay, there we go. Now this I'm going to put on with some Connect glue. Just going to have the hello going right across the center. Before I do that, because I want to let it sit and dry, I'm going to put this onto a white card base. Yes, that really brightens it up. I don't know what it is, but once you get the card base on there, you know, you get that layer onto the card base, it just pulls it all together. It's like being all dressed up and looking great, but you haven't put your lipstick on yet. And then you put your lipstick on and it just completely finishes the look. That's what the white card base is to these rainbow cards. It's the lipstick. Okay. And then we'll put that on there. I'm going to get some of my Connect glue. Let me find that here in my drawer. Here we go. Okay. And then I'm just going to put little dots of Connect glue all over the back. That was not a little dot. Now, the good thing about Connect glue is it goes on white, dries clear. So if you get any or it seeps out onto the other side, once it's all dry, you won't see any of it. You can see I'm just putting little dots, squiggles all over. And then I'm going to put some up here. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys heard, but Wisconsin actually had an election yesterday. And for those of you who know me, I really, really try to get political or anything, but I was a little irritated that people had to stand in line at polling places yesterday. That was really irritating to me. So I made some comments on my Facebook page. But I'm feeling better about all of that now. I'm trying not to dwell on that. What's nice about the glue too is this is kind of going over some humps and valleys and hills. There we go. So what do you think of that? Do you like that? It does look like a Hawaiian shirt. You're right. Get out of, there we go. So there's my second card. So I've got two. I'll show you the other one here. Here's the other one in case you just came in. I made that one and this one. It's so fun to do rainbows. They are just so uplifting and so bright. Love it. Very fun. Okay, so let me just take a peek here at your comments. Let's see. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. All of you are saying such nice things about the cards. Thank you so much. You guys are helping me. Yeah, they are bright. Rainbows are bright and cheery cards. They absolutely are. So since I'm kind of in the ink blending mood, let's do one more ink blended one. And let's see, do I have the smaller? Okay, I have a small piece here. I'll go strictly overhead again. So I am going to use this stencil, and this is our water droplet stencil. And this one, we were talking about it, and I was like, do we want to, there's so much talk about droplets. I don't even know if I want to use the water droplet, but I'm going to use it in honor of all we're going through. I'm going to make droplets. I want to show you something new that I found. This is the new purple tape by Thermoweb. So if you guys haven't seen this, it's got their cute little logo on it. Let me just pull that away. It's got their cute little logo on it, and it's a little less tacky. So I thought that was kind of cool. So this way, you know, if you want to do some of the techniques, I've seen Rena do some really cool techniques where she uses purple tape around the border, and then she does ink blending and peels it away, and it reveals a white border. This, I mean, this does not tear your cardstock at all. So, and I love it. It's different. It's a little bit different, and I love it. Okay, so I could have pixie sprayed it, but I decided to go with the purple tape. So I'm going to do an ink blend with this one, but I am going to start with the yellow in the center, because that's going to be my bright spot. So I'm going to do a little bit of yellow ink blending in the center. And I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. Just in the center like that, like a blob. And then I'm going to do a little bit of orange on top of that yellow. And just light. I'm using a real light touch. Like that. Again, I'm not going all the way to the edge. And then I'm going to work that yellow back in. And that gives me a little bit of a smoother blend. And then I'm just going to use the red that was left on that brush. So if you're just making this card right out of the gate, you could just kind of rub off a little bit of the red before you use it so that it's very, very subtle. And then I'm going to go back with a little bit of the jelly beans, since that was the last thing on this brush. And again, instead of putting my finger on there and putting pressure, I'm just going to hold the brush so that I get a very light blend out of it. Can always go back and add more if I need more, but we really just want a light blend. And yeah, I'm not going to the edge. Okay. And then whatever's left on here of the blue, I'm just going to add a little bit in there, just so I get a little blue color. And I want it to be really soft. Okay. There we go. So that doesn't go all the way to the edge. And you know a lot about Gina K Designs ink. For those of you that have it, once it dries, it almost looks a little more airbrushed, but you can see that is a very, very pretty blend, and it wasn't hard to achieve. And by not taking it all the way to the edge, it just, I don't know, it gives me just a little bit of kind of, it looks a little misty around the outside, if that makes sense. So let me see, what am I going to do with this one? I think I'm going to do a little floral thing, and I'm going to do You Make My Heart Smile. So I'll put the You Make My Heart Smile up here. Okay, let me get my Misty for this one. I am not in the mood to mess this one up. Do you ever get like that? Like, you think you could do it, but you're just not in the mood to deal with it if you can't do it, so you get the Misty. All right, so this stamp set is called Watercolor Flowers. And again, I'm gonna stamp the You Make Me Smile at the top. Up here. And I'm stamping my greeting first because I'm not exactly sure where my flowers are gonna go yet. So as long as I know my greeting is on there, then I can work around it. And if you have any solid stamps, you can do these techniques. So you don't need to have the stamps that I have to do these techniques. So I'm going to use my ink cube for this. This is the Gina K Designs Black Onyx ink cube. And I'm using the ink cube because it's a smaller greeting and I really don't want to have a big mess all over the Misty. Yes, I like that. When in doubt, mystify. That's cute. Oh, it's so good to see you all. I really needed to see you guys tonight. I needed to be with you. Okay, so we got good pressure there. You make my heart smile. I don't know what that is, but I might be able to sand that off. I'm just going to let it go for now until everything else is dry. Okay, so now we need to find a little floral design here. We're going to lay it out using the Watercolor Flowers. Let's see. So there's a couple stems. I'm going to lay these stems out. If I lay that one here, I'm going to lay this one here. Then I have room to put a big flower on the top. Just have to check it, make sure there's room. So I could put that flower on top, and I could do this little side look here. I think I'll do that. Okay. So we'll do the stems first, because we want to make sure that we pop those flower heads right onto the stems. And there's not enough room to do them together because of that little base up on the bottom of the stamp prevents it from being able to be stamped together. Nope, 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 nope. You guys will see what I did wrong. Okay. See what I did? I had this sitting on the lid of my Misty and it was going to slide all around. Okay, we'll try that again. So we're going to lay that here. We're going to lay this here. Oh my goodness, that was almost a disaster. Not one that we couldn't recover from though, right guys? I mean, it's a card, so I could always redo it. Let me check the flower heads again. So that one will fit there, and this one will fit there. Okay. All right, try it again. There we go. And then, again, I'm going to use the black ink. Aren't you glad to know all the stuff that goes on behind my scenes? Okay, so there we go. Well, that looks nice. So I'm going to pick this up and clean this. I don't trust myself with that. And I also don't trust myself with it being wet, so I'm going to grab a paper towel and just dry it. Okay, so there we go. Let me clean these stems, and then we'll put the flower heads on. So I do have a quote of the night that I'm going to get to in just a couple of minutes. I've been thinking about this quote all day. You know, it feels more like a bad day when things happen earlier in the day too, because you just think about them all day. If you have a really good day and then something's like, right before you go to bed, you're like, oh, well, I'm going to bed. All right, so I'm going to put this here. And then sneak it down a little bit. And then I'm going to put this one right here. And would you believe me if I told you that if you guys weren't here, I'd still be talking to myself while I make this card? Do you guys do that? Talk to yourself? Nah, that's not going to look good. Oh, maybe that'll be okay. That's me all day, stamping and talking to myself. I answer too. I don't know if you guys ever answer. I answer myself too. Ah, wrong. Oh gosh, see what I did? I did it again. All right. Well, that card didn't make it. I'm going to make it again, and I'm going to post the finished card. It's this sheet that got in the way again, and I picked it up on my Misty, and then the stamps just fell right on. Okay, well, let me go back to the front shot again. You can see my very sad face. Oh gosh, there are worse things, right? So I'm gonna remake this card, and I'm gonna post it tonight over on Facebook, because I feel like we were really onto something with this one. I had such a plan for it, but I'll make it again, I promise. Let's put the pretty ones in the picture, just in case anybody's just tuning in and they will get to look at something nice here. This one worked out well. Yeah, for those of you who just joined us, you can see what I did. I dropped my stamps from my Misty onto my card project because I didn't remove the plastic sheet and they were stuck to the sheet. So, but anyway, well, we have 2 completed rainbows. I'm going to finish the last one. I'm going to post all 3 of these cards in the Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends group. But yeah, so you guys, oh good. I'm so glad it happens to all of us, right? Yeah. So let me leave you with my quote for tonight. And I think I think this is going to be a good one, especially for what just happened to me. So my quote for tonight, you guys know that my theme tonight was trying to find light in the darkness and trying to get through all of the struggles and the stumbles that we have. So my quote for tonight is, the difference between stumbling blocks and stepping stones are how you use them. So I learned a great lesson tonight. I'm not going to make this a stumbling block. I'm going to make it a stepping stone, and I'm going to remember to remove the clear sheet, get it out of the way before I go to stamp my cards. My stepping stone. The quote again, the difference between stumbling blocks and stepping stones are how you use them. So I'll be posting that over on my Facebook page. And if you guys didn't know, I have a Facebook page that's public. You guys, anybody can see what I post. You can follow me on that page. It's Gina Aurelio Krupski. That's my maiden name, Aurelio, and Krupski is my married name. So it's Gina Aurelio Krupski. I always put my quote of the day over there. So if you guys want to check it out, if you want to remember them, they're all kind of posted around the same time as the videos. Also, this video is going to be available on replay, so my mistake will live forever. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Friday is Flashback Friday. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be using old stamp sets from the past. So grab some of your favorites and come hang out with me. On Friday morning, the live will go up, the theme will go up, and I sure hope you'll join me. You guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I love you all so very much. Have a great night, and I'll see you again real soon.